Compensation. You'll see sometimes payroll, probably about 30% of the time. Payroll is actually part of human resources. The other 70% of the time, really, payroll takes its direction from human resources. When you hire somebody, you hire them at a set rate, and human resources is the one that classifies the position, and they're also the ones that determines what is the pay rate for this future employee. And then they communicate with payroll. Regardless, you have to have close communication with payroll. It's a big deal. You don't want to make a mistake. And if you pay somebody once a month, okay, it says, oh, well, we made a mistake with payroll. We'll just make up for it next month. No, you can't have somebody working for 2 months without a paycheck. So that being said, this is a big issue. You can't make a mistake here. Compensation, there's a lot of different ways of doing it, but it's a big reason why companies hire people because people want to make a living and they might like the work, but they also like to get paid. So you want to attract people in the process. You want to make certain that somebody that's competing against you doesn't get the best employees. You want to keep your valued employees from going to them. Okay, so you want to look at the different systems. So there's a couple things. One's called the Hay method, where you use a series of job grades, and each one has a pay method. A lot of times you have market-based structures where you actually go out and do a survey. We call it a market basket survey, and you go and you check with people that do comparable things. In my world has always been human resources in college. So with that, we would actually go do and compare our wages to other colleges, but we would also compare it to other nonprofits like hospitals and other agencies to see where we're at, to have a comparison in that as well. So the pay that just depends what you have in the process. You look at the compensation, you have to always make certain that you are a competition and that you're not the bottom rung out there because people will start leaving you just for the money only, even if it's a nice place to work. Bonuses are a big deal. As a matter of fact, let's look at some of the different aspects of salary. Salary normally is a matter of you fix amount of money that you pay weekly, biweekly, or monthly pay periods. Usually, you don't get any extra pay for any hour works on the salary. Salary is just basic compensation for the work as a whole. Another way is hourly workers or day workers pay people by the number of hours, usually X number of dollars per hour. It doesn't necessarily include benefits. A lot of times, if it does include benefits, you can tack on 30% or even 40% more times that because insurance can cost a huge amount of money. Normally, if you're doing a calculation for wages and benefits, normally you're going to use the figure of tacking on the wages. Let's say you're paying $20 an hour. Okay, make the assumption you're going to pay 30% above that. So really tack on another $6. Overall, the total cost for that employee is going to be $26 an hour. So think about it that way, at least 30%, sometimes it's 40. Another way of doing it is piecework systems where you're paying people by the number of items they produce. If you and you can't use this in everything, but it's a matter of like, for instance, if you're in the logging business, you have workers, they cut down trees, they trim off the branches, and they stack up a pile. And if they get a cord of wood, they get this amount of dollars for that because they actually have an accomplishment of finishing off this volume of work. That's a piecemeal system. You can have somebody on the assembly line assembling pieces as they go through, and how many pieces they assemble to get paid by that. A lot of times there's a lot of companies that do commission plans where whatever they sell, you sell as an employee, they will give you a commission, usually a percentage of sales on top of that. The car industry is great for that. The car industry, a lot of times you'll see it's base salary plus commission, and that way in the lean months, the employees still get something because usually there are lean months in the automotive sales business, but they may get 5% on a car. Well, 5% depends how much you're going to actually sell, but you may have a quota you have to keep. So they say 12 cars per month. And if you have to hit 20 cars a month, you're making a huge amount of money. But also, a lot of times, my experience is that people in commission sales, they like competing a lot and getting that commission bigger than somebody else in the process as well. Commission sales jobs can pay an awful lot of money. A lot of businesses will have a bonus plan. And the bonus could be based upon having certain objectives. You'll see that with things like management by objectives and other pay systems like that. But you'll see a bonus plan that'll typically pay once a year, a lot of times during the holiday season in the winter months. And also you'll see a profit sharing plan where it's an annual bonus based upon the company profit. So if the company made this amount of money profit-wise, they'll split that with all the employees, or sometimes X% with this group and X% with this group in the process. There's also a gain sharing plan where they're paid employees based on achieving specific goals, such as quality measures or customer satisfaction, where they do surveys on it, or even stock options. Stock options seem to be becoming more in vogue with the different ways we pay people nowadays. If a worker gets an option to buy 10,000 shares of stock at $10 and the price grows to $100, he can buy 10,000 shares, now worth $1 million, for $100,000. So you have those different options as a stock option. You'll see different ways to pay people. Sometimes you compensate them based on teams. Usually you're going to see a lot of salary and hourly works. Those are the two main things out there. And then you'll see maybe things to go on top of that, depending upon what company you're working for. The two most common methods for teams, you have skill-based, where team members learn and apply new skills, or gain sharing, you'll see that as well. A big component in the workplace is fringe benefits, sick leave, vacation pay, pension plans, health plans. Fringe benefits, it really doesn't cost as much, except for the fact that now it's about 30% and sometimes 40%. Where I work, the fringe benefit package is closer to 40%, and it is a huge amount of money that the college pays for all the full-time employees. It's a big part of money and compensation when you're out there. Sometimes on fringe benefits, you'll get to do all kinds of fun things. Like if you help create this, you might get all kinds of perks for this over here or this over here. And it just depends on where you're working. Sometimes some companies provide a bowl of Skittles every single morning with milk, and you can have Skittles for breakfast if you want to. It just depends on the process, what kind of fringe benefits that are out there. You'll also see now, it's becoming more and more popular with larger companies, that you have a cafeteria style fringe benefit. Sometimes if you don't have a family, especially with children, you might get insurance for one person because it's just you, and that frees up money for the company, and you'll have a choice of other options to get, legal services, this, and you may have a whole shopping list. We call it like a cafeteria shopping list of things you can get. We call it a cafeteria plan. Maybe you do have a family with children in it, and all of a sudden you have to have 5 different people insured. Okay, that could be it. You may want to have additional money put into your retirement plan. It just depends what is on that cafeteria menu, so to speak. So we call it a cafeteria style fringe benefit plan. Vacation time is always a big deal. If you look here, this is a contrast between the US and other parts of the world. If you ever have an opportunity, go visit Europe at the last week in June or the first week in July. Wait a minute, don't do that because it's crazy. A lot of Europeans, they get a whole month off. It's common to have the month of June off or the month of July off. If you try to go there in those 2 weeks, you'll see a lot of people trying to get an extra weekend. And so everybody is scrambling nonstop that last week in June and the first week in July. Everybody's crossing back and forth, and it's wild. But the US, 14 days is pretty common to have. It's pretty rare you get 30 days off unless you have a unique job in the United States. The global workforce and human resources is huge. If somebody is in a country like the United States and they're making $100,000 a year, that may not measure up to being a massive amount of money. You pay somebody $100,000 a year in India, you're giving them a giant salary. So what will $100,000 buy you? Well, $100,000 in other countries sometimes can buy you a mansion for a house, as well as people to sit down and work for you every single day in the process. So should you pay the same? Those are discussions that human resources has to juggle on a regular basis, because if you want everybody to sit down and have the same chances for advancement in a global organization. So human resource on a cultural basis can be really, really challenging. Compensation system, know the 6 basic kinds: salary, wages, piecework, commission, bonus, profit sharing. Oh, there's another one, and profit sharing. Hourly wages dominate, and also there's benefits and also cafeteria benefit plans as well. All this is part of the thing we call compensation, and really is a major part of human resources coordination. Take care.